So guys, the last series of moves we looked at involved, sit down for me. The last series of moves we looked at involved this position here, which we call the cross ashigarami. Okay. Another name you guys may have heard for this position is the saddle. Right. It's another pretty common name for this position. So the cross ashigarami position is very, very well suited for controlling an opponent, but it's not ideally suited for breaking someone, specifically because it's pretty difficult to expose someone's heel in this position if he's defensively knowledgeable, right? Because what he can do is he can hide the heel here, make it very difficult for me to expose it, okay? So as a result, this position, the cross ashigarami with the saddle position, is very, very good for controlling him and transitioning into other positions, but it's not the best to finish people from. You can get a lot of finishes here, but the finishes are mainly going to be against people that don't know the defense, which is hiding the heel, okay? Now, there is an upper body equivalent to this position that I want to introduce you guys to right now, which has many of the same properties of the cross ashigarami. So that's, if you want, you call that the leg saddle. We're now going to look at the arm saddle, okay? Where it's a very strong controlling position, and we can use this to transition into many other offensive positions, but it's not, you're not usually going to finish someone from this position itself, okay? So let's first take a look at what the position is, and then we'll look at how to get there. So I'm here, and you're going to look at cross face on me, shoulder crunch, and I push, and now he hides his hand. Now if he did not bring the hand inside, obviously we can armbar him right here, right, of course. But no one, I mean, I shouldn't say no one, but most people are not going to let you do that. So you're going to wind up in this position here where we have tremendous control over him, but it's hard to, again, it's not impossible, but it's hard to get the finish right here. Usually you have to move somewhere else to get the finish, okay? So this position, basically the way both the cross ashigarami and the arm saddle work is by you move to the position and it creates a defensive reaction. He has to defend. If he doesn't defend, he's going to get finished right there. That defensive reaction allows us to connect into other forms of offense, okay? Both submission-based and position-based, okay? It all comes from the threat of the initial submission, all right? So, all right, let's look specifically how can we get into this arm saddle. There's two main ways we can look to get there. Just as with entangling someone's legs, if I want to entangle someone's arms, we can use proactive methods of elevation to do so, all right? Where I grasp the triceps and I elevate him, and now he senses that I'm going for his legs, right? Maybe we're gonna go for the kanamisami like we just looked at, right? And he senses, okay, I'm making this scoop grip to go for his legs. A super common reaction you see here is people sit back. Yeah, you sit back hard. They sit back hard, right? And if you keep going for the legs, you miss your opportunity, all right? In such cases, if I elevate somebody and I feel, as I go for the legs, he's sitting back hard, switch to the arms. The window of opportunity you have to gain an arm entanglement is wider than it is for the legs, because his arms are always going to be, his arms and shoulders are always going to be over mine for a longer period of time, okay? Because they're in front of his hips, right? So it's easier for him to sit his hips back, therefore the window of opportunity to gain access to them is smaller, okay? So when we feel, I'll come back one second, when we feel as if the window of opportunity to gain access to a leg entanglement is just too small because he's sitting back, he goes to sit back, you have a good opportunity to get a hold of his arms. All right, so from this grip, we call this a shoulder crunch grip. What I want to do is I take my first hand, it goes over like so, and it pushes down. I connect my hands with a gable grip, okay? Not this shallow, go a little bit deeper, go about here. Now here, what I want to do is I want to have my forearm situated on a diagonal line from shoulder to hip. What we don't want to do is have my forearm come down. Well, I don't want this against his chin. This is a common mistake people make. Why? Because if I'm here and I'm going against his chin and he brings his chin down, no, like he goes like this, he can arm triangle me, right? That's obviously not what we want. Whereas if I'm framing here, it's never going to happen. You guys can see that. See how my forearm would be? It's like this, not this, here, okay? Now, I want my right elbow very high, okay? If it's low, if my right elbow goes low, look what happens to my left elbow. It goes into his chin, which is again not what we want. Yeah, you get passed off to that arm triangle. All right, so we're here, my right elbow is nice and high. Now my right foot goes on his hip. Okay, that's regulating distance. So as he drives into me, I can keep him at bay. But ultimately what we want to do is, I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to pass that to his far hip. So it goes to his far hip. All right? Now as I do this, I'm going to fall backwards. Just come down nice and slow. I'm going to fall backwards, and initially my left forearm is acting as a frame so he can't crush me. As I fall backwards, I replace that with my left knee. Okay? So with my left forearm, now it's my left knee. Okay, now I'm going to push, and my leg rolls over the top, and I put my foot on initially his near hip, but then it's going to pass to his far hip. Okay? Keep a good, nice structure. So, no, not high, yeah, perfect, just like this, very good. Now when we're here, my right leg, guys, this is very important. I don't want to just leave it flat on the mat. Yep, because then he can just grab it, and he's probably going to get out. Yeah, that's no good. So what I want to do is I want to hook around the armpit, like so. Okay? You can see how my right leg is curling. It's much harder for him. I'm not going to say he can't grab it whatsoever, right? I mean, it's definitely a possibility of him still grabbing it, but it's way harder for him to get a hold of it. Okay? So it's curling like this. Now, from here, we can either have a shoulder crunch grip or we can have a Kimura grip. For the move we're going to look at here, we're going to go for a Kimura grip. So what I do is I start to turn this way, and my foot, the foot goes from a curl, and in order to get my forehead to the mat, it posts on the mat. My right foot, that is, okay? And now I gain, my left hand goes underneath, and I gain a Kimura. Okay, now I come all the way so my forehead's on the mat. Now he's going to grab my ankle. It's available for him then, right? It became available because I wanted to invert and I had to use my foot on the mat to do so, okay? But his gripping there can actually, in this situation, help me gain a front triangle. So I'm going to turn. Now look at my left foot, guys. It's going to go at the crook of his elbow, and I'm going to keep spinning in the same direction. And now I use that to strip his grip, and I lock up a trap triangle. Right now it's just my ankles, okay? Now I use my left hand to grab his head, and now I lock up like a more traditional figure 4 triangle. Okay, from here, yeah, you get your strangle, or you can go for an arm lock, up to you, okay? So, again, it starts from offense generated against his legs, okay? I'm elevating the guy with the intention of wrapping up. I could go to a standard ashi or a cross ashi, okay? He senses that, and he sits his weight back. So instead of missing an opportunity altogether, I'm going to go for his arms instead, okay? Because they're still available to me. I now post on his hip with my right hip as he drives into me, and I keep him at bay with that. Now I'm going to take my right foot off of his hip and to his far hip. Now as I fall down, I replace my forearm with my knee and my shin. I push and I pummel over the top, and it starts on this hip. Some attacks in this position are from this hip, but most of them are going to be when we're connected to the far hip. All right, now I initially curl so he can't grasp my foot, okay? But ultimately for this specific move, what I want to do is I want to post my foot on the mat so I can start to come up. Now I grasp a Kimura. At the same time, he's going to grab my ankle. That's actually going to help me because now if his arm is tight, bring your elbow tight, how am I going to get that triangle, right? There's no way. Here I would go for his back, right? But now, because his extension on his arm, right? That extension allows me to fit this foot inside, and now I can strip that grip. I can lock up a trap triangle. I can grab his head and lock up a very tight front triangle here, and you can get this triangle, or you could switch to an arm bar. Okay? Does this make sense, guys? Yep. Yes? Any questions? No? Another time? So I push here, goes here, and here. Okay? He grabs that ankle. That's what he should do. That's a good response. If his elbow stays tight, he can't grab the ankle, and I can take his back. If I were to try to go back one step, if I were to try to front triangle this, that's pretty hard, basically impossible, right? But I can take his back. But when he posts, now the front triangle is available. And you take the front triangle and look at finishing with that. So this is an example of the creation of a dilemma where he's got a choice between two different attacks. He can stay tight and get his back taken, or we're gonna practice right now the front triangle where he extends the arm. I think you're gonna find pretty often people are gonna extend their arm. The ankle's there, they see it. It's a natural thing that people are gonna grab it. Okay. All right. Any other questions, guys? No. All right. Let's get started. 1, 2, 3. When you fall, you want to replace this with your left hand. Yes, that was much better. Very good. Now you push, roll over the top. Very nice. Beautiful. Good. Now you come up. He grasps. Very good. Now you that was pretty good, but I want to make one adjustment. Go back. So you basically did the move, but when you take your free foot and you hook it, okay, so just start over. I'll correct it. Don't worry.
If you can't launch a triangle, the arm's there.
Okay, now keep going. Keep going. Okay, stop right here. I want this foot at the bicep. Hook at the bicep. We'll make the foot go a little bit lower. So see how high it is? Yeah, because what's going to happen is your whole goal is to strip that grip. Yep, right there. It's going to be easier to do that the closer your foot is to his elbow. Right? Yeah, you want the crook of the bicep and the elbow. The higher it is, like if it's up here, it's not going to be as well suited for stripping the grip. Whereas if it's down here, you can strip the grip. Yeah, the wrist will pop right off very easy. But yeah, that was very good. Yeah. All right, let me see you try it now. You need a Kimura grip at this point.
Yep, Kimura grip.
Yeah. So now use your foot to go ahead. Good. Very good. Nice.
No, I want
the triangle would be the other way. It's just a regular front triangle. Yeah, good. Nice. So now he's defending the legs by sending his weight back. You go follow up with him, come up with him, and you take the arm. No, you gotta sit up. As he's sitting, because it's like, look, this is what's happening.
It's the same side. Now you're gonna pass.
So I want to go into you so you can feel it. Okay, let's say you didn't want me to attack your legs. What would you do right here? I'm going to, yeah, you're going to keep the weight back, right? So let's say I do succeed in elevating you, and you're like, and right here you're thinking to yourself, oh shit, right? Where you're going to cancel your weight back. As you weight back, I follow up and I go after the arm. But you gotta go up with him, right? You can't do that. If I elevate you, and then I'm like, oh, the arm's like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna be there, because watch, this is what's gonna happen. So I go here. So I elevate you. Okay, sit your way back. Don't let me get your legs. He's down there. I gotta go up with you. Yeah. So when he's sitting back, you go up with him and then you grab. Okay.
Like you're going for a Kimura strip or whatever.
Yeah. It's very similar.
Come back down with the foot and the fist.
It's the same sort of idea. Yeah. So anyway, let me see you give that a try. All right. So we're here. We have our back. Yes, see how that worked? It was the threat of the attack on the legs that gave you access to the arms. Very good.
Okay. So here we're gonna bring him back down with this.
So now what's going to happen is you're going to put this foot on his hip. So that keeps him like at bay, right? So you can regulate distance with that foot there, right? So now the next thing that's going to happen is adjust his grip. I want the elbow high. Okay. Yeah, that's good. And then your neck. Yes, you want like a diagonal line, right, from the shoulder to the hip. Okay. Now the next thing that's going to happen is as you fall down, you're going to take your left knee. So right now, this is your frame. Okay. You're going to replace that with your knee and your shin. It's going to be on this side of his head. Okay. Does that make sense?
So as I fall down, I'm gonna bring this up and put it pretty much beside his neck.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, right by his neck. Okay, so fall down and do that. Beautiful, very good. Now you're gonna be on your right hip, not your left hip. Now you're gonna push, and then the foot's gonna pummel over the top. Push with your shin.
Okay.
And now pummel the left foot over the top. Yeah, good. And now don't stop here. He goes here. And now if he does this, just break his arm right there. He's gonna defend almost always, okay? Now what you do is put this foot on the inside. This foot.
So if I'm like really tight and I'm
So truth be told, this is not a bad position to work with. It's just kind of, it's a different variation of the position.
Right.
Just give him a little bit of space. Help him out. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Now take this leg, bring it on the inside, and now go to the far hip, and this curls at his armpit.
At his armpit.
This curls at the armpit, and this connects. No, this connects to the far hip. Gotcha. Yes. Good. Now I want you to. So your next goal is to make a Kimura. All right. Okay. You're gonna do that. Yes, but now you're gonna invert and put your forehead on the floor. Okay. And your foot is gonna have to go to the mat. This foot is gonna have to go to the mat to do that. So put that foot on the mat. Yeah. So. Yeah, you see that? And now when you do that, he has the opportunity to gain this grip here. Okay. Okay. Now when he gains that grip, because to do that he had to extend his limb from his torso. You now have the opportunity to take this, go with the crook of his elbow. Crook of his. No. Just you want the foot like hooking around like this, okay? Now, okay, try as hard as you can to hold on to this grip and keep spinning. Okay, strip the grip. Ready, go. Yep, it's so hard to do. It's your leg against his arm. Your leg is gonna win that fight 99% of the time. Keep going. So you want to spin to face him. So spin this way. Yeah. Yeah, good. Keep spinning that way. Beautiful. And now you lock up a trap. So at first it's just a trap triangle with just your ankles, right? And now you're going to convert that just to a regular front triangle. Beautiful. Yeah. That was very good. Do you feel good about that?
I'm gonna have to do that like 10 times.
Well, that's how it always goes. But that was a good first repetition for real. Okay. Yeah. So just replicate what you did right there 10 more times. Good job.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your help.
You got it. No worries. Attack when the guy keeps his posture low. Okay. So the more common reactions you're going to see are people are going to posture up. Right. The lower your shoulders are, the greater threat there is of upper body attacks. And this is a pretty intuitive concept in jiu-jitsu. For instance, if I had a closed guard, you very rarely see people who just put your head next to him. Yeah, I mean, people don't usually do this because now there's attacks. Whereas the higher he is, the more difficult it is for me to attack him, right? We all learn that pretty often in our early stages of jiu-jitsu. And it goes for the arm saddle as well. So when I elevate the guy, it's back, I gain an entry into the position. You'll usually see people looking at posture up. And then you've got various options to chain into upper body submissions, or if he goes too far, we go into the legs like we looked at. Right? But sometimes you are going to get people that just stay very low, okay? For whatever reason. So let's look to see how we can capitalize upon that. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do in such situations is turn and gain a Kimura in the same way we looked at before. Now, before, when we went here, he posted on my ankle and he raised his shoulders, and that extended his arm and allowed me to transition into a front triangle, okay? This time, he's not going to do that. He's electing to keep his shoulders low, and if his shoulders are low, he cannot grasp my ankle in the same way, and I can't gain the front triangle in the same way. There's no extension with his right arm that would allow me to gain the front triangle. What I can get instead is a back step, like so, where my knee goes behind his shoulder, and I post on my hands, and I come up into this turtle position. From here, usually what I'm going to look to do is dismount with my hook. This is kind of an unstable turtle. If he postures up, yeah, you'll probably fall off. Come back down. So I just take the hook off, and now we have a good turtle position. Okay? A good breakdown from here we can look at involves, I'm going to take my right knee and put it in between the space of his elbow and his knee. Okay? Now here, I'm going to take my left foot and I'm going to hook at his ankle. Now I'm just going to slag down onto my right hip. I throw my right hook in, skip out, and I throw my left hook in. Okay? Let's look at that whole thing again. So now, this time, for whatever reason, he's electing to keep his posture very, very low. Okay? So this time, when I gain my Kimura grip, I'm not going to go for the front triangle because it's not really available to me. Instead, I'm going to back step, okay, and take back exposure. From here, I'm going to dismount and take a turtle position. All right. From this turtle position, one possible way I can break him down to his hips involves my knee going very deep, okay, in between his elbow and his knee. Now take a look at what I do with my left ankle. It hooks at his ankle. Now I fall to my right hip. Now I can throw my right hook in, hip out, and throw your left hook in. Okay, makes sense, guys? Let's look at this one more time. So I'm here, he's staying very low. I gain the Kimura grip, and now when I go for the front triangle, it's just not there. It would be unrealistic to attempt it. Instead, I back step, and I'm able to easily expose his back. In such situations, we dismount, take a good turtle position, and look to get our hooks in this fashion. Okay? Make sense, guys? Mm-hmm. Any questions? No? All right, let's get started. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to look at connecting the arm saddle into an attack on his legs. Okay? So very frequently, what we see when we start attacking the arm saddle is there are two main things from this position which are going to determine my next offensive step. It's going to be whether he's clasping his hands to his thigh or he's clasping his hands together, or, and this is more relevant for the next move we're going to look at, or whether his posture is low or whether his posture is high. Okay, yeah, bring your posture very, very high. Yeah. Now there comes a point, guys, where his posture becomes so high that any offense I attempt to generate against his upper body is just a losing effort at that point, okay? Come back down again. At which point, we're gonna shift into an attack on his legs, all right? Whenever his upper body raises, his lower body becomes vulnerable, all right? So when I feel like his upper body, so come back down. The threat of the arm lock and all the various attacks here make him want to posture up. And when he postures up, what happens is I gain an opportunity to first, I take my left hand, guys, I grip at his hamstring, and then my right hand passes and I connect my hands together. Now my left leg is like a shield here. So right now he's raising his posture, but what might happen is he might recognize, oh, okay, he's about to go into my leg, so he might start trying to crush you again. So yeah, I'll come back down. That would be too late at that point for me. So what I want is my left leg, the knee is pushing him away, so I have just enough time to take this foot. So guys, right now it's on this hip, and I pass it to this hip. So look, we're in a K guard now. So I went from here to here, and now this leg is pushing him away, and I want to switch to my, if I can, we won't always have the space for this, but if I can, I want to switch to my foot, okay? So I switch to my foot, now I pull the knee on top of my chest, like so. Now we go into the same K guard, backside 50-50 entry that we did before, where now I can pass off very easily into a heel hook. Okay, so let's look at that whole thing again. So we started off by gaining an entry into the arm saddle by first threatening his legs by virtue of an elevation, right? So I'm here and I elevate him. He recognizes the threat against his legs, so he defensively responds by sitting his weight back. As he sits his weight back, I gain an entanglement of his arm with a shoulder crunch, okay? From this shoulder crunch, I transition into an arm saddle position. And now, the threat of the arm saddle allows me to gain access to the legs once again. Let's take a look at that transition again. So guys, it starts off here. So it starts with this left hand, I grab. The reason why it starts with the left hand is because I can maintain my grip on his arm still with my right hand if I start with the left hand, right? If I start with the right hand, Yeah, he's kind of probably just gonna pull out exactly like that. Yeah. So we want to start here. So posture high, posture high. So I start here, and then I switch to this grip. And as I do that, guys, it's this shin which is acting as my barrier. This is not a long-term barrier, but it's good initially. It's a very simple motion. I just need enough time to make that movement. Okay, guys? So I go here. Once I'm here, my next goal is I want to get the knee on top of my chest. See how my knee here is pushing him away? Okay, and if I can, I want to get my foot in. The foot's obviously going to be even stronger. Okay, the knee can get the job done too, though. If you don't have enough space to get the foot in, the knee can get the job done 100%. But if possible, the foot will be even better. Now, this foot, it's in a K-guard. It passes off down here, so that now I can ensure there's enough space for me to make my outside reap into the backside 50-50. Okay, so I'll pick this knee up once more. So we're here, guys. And I gain access to the backside 50-50, okay? So we'll show that once more. So the main takeaway I want you guys to get from this sequence is how we're connecting offense against his lower body into his upper body, back into his lower body. See how one thing is connecting to the other, right? Does that make sense, guys? And it's all about the threats, right? We're trying to create dilemmas for him where if I go, let's imagine I go into a match and he knows I just want the leg lock. The whole time I just chase the leg over and over and over again, and it's like you never get anything. But instead I go from legs to arms, then I can go back to his legs. Then maybe down the line I can go back into his arms. You know, whatever we need ultimately to get the submission that we're looking for, okay? All right, this is like a much, much higher percentage way to think about going after leg locks, all right? Anyway, let's get started, guys. 1, 2, 3. No.